So Specialized has got a new e-bike out, and this is it, the new Turbo Levo. So it's probably no overstatement to say that there are more Turbo Levos in circulation than any other e-mountain bike. But while the old bike really moved the game on in terms of design and integration, it's since been overtaken by many different models. So hot on the heels of the new Stump Jumper launched earlier this year, Specialized has completely revamped the Turbo Levo. And spoiler alert, it's really good. So I'm going to go through a few of the main points about this new bike. We're also going to stick it on the scales and take a few measurements. Probably the most significant difference with a new bike is the weight. Specialized has hacked away at the frame and the mounting points for the motor and the motor itself to lose a whopping 1.2 kilos from the chassis. Now, even more impressive than that, the new alloy frame is lighter, according to Specialized, than the old S-Works carbon frame. Now that's pretty impressive. So in detail, Specialized has removed the carrier that the old motor used to mount to, and that's saved 400 grams. It's also got a new motor with a magnesium casing, and that's saved another 400 grams. With further weight savings from the down tube area where the battery is housed. On top of that, the new motor is also more compact, which has helped their packaging and the geometry of the new bike. Now they say that the top-end S-Works model with a 500 watt-hour battery weighs in at under 20 kilos, which is really impressive. And we've just weighed our model here, which is a large frame size, 500 watt-hour battery, carbon main front triangle at 20.5 kilos, which again is impressive when you compare it to some of the other bikes we've had in on test this year. Now the other really significant detail about the new Turbo Levo is that Specialized has developed a massive 700 watt-hour battery that fits inside the down tube. Now it's exactly the same size as the 500 watt-hour that's in there, but it'll massively increase the range of the bike, some 40% according to their estimates. Now on the launch, we rode a bike with the 700 watt-hour battery, and we did a 34 kilometer ride with 1,200 meters of climbing. And we basically used the turbo mode for the entire ride. And we still ended up with almost 40% of battery power left at the end, which just shows what your range can be if you manage your battery life during the ride. Now this larger capacity battery isn't standard on all models, only the top two, but you can buy it separately. Unfortunately, it is very expensive at around about €1,000. As you can see, much of what Specialized has learned during the development of the Stump Jumper has gone into the new Turbo Levo chassis. The most obvious example of this is the sidearm, which really stiffens the bike under heavy bottom-out loads. On top of that, you've got the standard fit metric shock with the flip chip at the yoke so you can adjust the geometry. And you also get improved kinematics, and that means better progression and better mid-stroke support. And this is taken one step further on the Turbo Levo with firmer compression tunes and reduced air volumes for even more progression. And finally, there's the sizing, which has also grown. And depending on the size, the reach measurement has been extended by between 24 and 29 millimeters. Now, having been given the reach measurements before the launch of this bike, we actually opted to ride an XL on the first day. Now, this was actually a big mistake because the large is a much better fit for our height at 5'10". And there's so much stability in the frame owing to the motor and the battery and the extra weight that you don't need to add it in the length. Another really cool feature with a Turbo Levo is that you can control it through this really discreet panel on the top tube, or with this little remote here, or you can control it through an app on your smartphone. Now we really like this remote here because it doesn't take up too much space on the handlebars, and you can run a proper dropper remote underneath the handlebar. But if you don't want to run it, you can just simply remove it and change the modes through the button on the top tube. So how does it ride? Well, in a word, brilliant. Now, all of the developments that Specialized has done with the weight saving have made a massive impact on the ride of this bike. It's a really agile e-bike, and you never have to sacrifice anything in terms of dynamics on the descents and single track, but you benefit from all of that additional power on the climbs. When you combine together the improvements to the weight, the geometry, and the kinematics, it all adds up to a really impressive e-bike. We love the way that Specialized has calibrated this Bros motor too. It packs a powerful punch, easily as strong as the Bosch system, but as smooth and as natural feeling as a Shimano unit. So one important point about the battery is, although it's fully integrated into the down tube, you can still remove it if you want to charge it indoors. This is really easily done. You've got a swap tool in the head tube. Just take that out, undo a bolt underneath the down tube, and then you can slide the whole battery out. And you can also charge it inside the frame. So how does it stack up against the best e-bikes on the market? Well, we just tested 4 of the latest models, including the Canyon, Spectral On, and the Vitus e-Summit. And the Vitus won that test. Now those are longer travel e-bikes than this. This is more of a trail bike, but I still think it would hold its own against those bikes. It's certainly got the capability there, certainly got the geometry there, even if it doesn't have the travel. It's a really agile bike, it's a really rewarding bike to ride, and it gives a very natural mountain bike experience. On price, it can't compete with those bikes because they're direct sales models. So you will pay a premium for the Turbo Levo, but it's available in shops to buy. You can actually go in there, you can touch it, you can sit on it, you can ride it. And for a lot of people, that is a big deal. You've also got all of the backup of a massive dealer network if anything goes wrong. And we really love the unique feeling of this Bros motor with the Specialized calibration, and we think it's among the best on the market that we've tried. And now with that extended range, there's always time for one more lap. You don't need to spend all of your time watching the fuel gauge. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have any prices while filming this video, but they should be out now, and you'll be able to check them out on your local Specialized website. Now, there's a brief look at the new Turbo Levo. We hope you found it interesting, and remember to like and subscribe, and look out for a full review coming soon in MBR.